Hello and welcome to Geeketeers, the Week-In-Geek, your one-stop shop for all things geeky news, from the obviously geeky TV, film and comics, right through to the more niche science or cosplay side of geekdom. I'm your hostess Illisia Adams, and I'm bringing you up to date on January 6th to 12th, 2020. We'll start with popular subjects and work through the more unusual topics. For further information about the news, we've provided our sources in the description and as video annotations. First up is television and film. In film, Kevin Smith has announced on his social media platforms that he's making a new Clerks film, and mega fan Bruce Campbell has requested a part. Smith responded with an invitation for Campbell to be in the film in a role he was literally born for, playing himself. Fans are hyped. The CES Technology Convention had an unexpected reveal of Avatar 2 concept art, alongside an Avatar-inspired car. This is the first we've seen of the long-awaited sequel so far. And speaking of promos, 2020's film adaptation of Frank Herbert's beloved sci-fi novel Dune just released a film poster and set photos. Elsewhere, Colin Farrell has been announced in the role of Penguin in Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves' The Batman, due for release next year. This makes 3 villain announcements, the others being Catwoman and the Riddler, leaving fans a little concerned of quote-unquote repeating mistakes of past triple threat comic book film adaptations. Speaking of Batman, Christian Bale is hoping to switch to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a role for the upcoming as yet untitled Thor 4 film. Also in MCU news, filming of the Doctor Strange sequel is delayed as director Scott Derrickson quits due to quote-unquote creative differences. In television, Disney Plus's WandaVision made headlines twice this week after firstly having an audition tape leaked that suggests the return of Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch's brother, who supposedly died in Avengers Age of Ultron. And then Disney moved the release date ahead from 2021 to 2020, the reasons for which are unknown, but fans are speculating it's due to the decrease in membership numbers after The Mandalorian finished its season. On the DC side of things, Lucifer finds the actor who will be playing God in the final series of the show. Meanwhile, rumour has it that Good Omens' angelic Michael Sheen is going to be Lucifer in the DCEU, aka DC Extended Universe, aka film version. Finally, browncoats are being teased with the return to Joss Whedon's Firefly universe. Again. In the world of gaming, The Witcher 3 surpasses an impressive 100,000 concurrent players on the Steam platform, a record for the game which was no doubt a result of the critically and fan-acclaimed Netflix show. A gamer's life was saved by a friend who lived 5,000 miles away, who, during one of their multiplayer sessions, realised he was having an epileptic fit. The friend, 20-year-old Dia Lothora, who lives in Texas, managed to contact the emergency services from abroad in order to send an ambulance to the aid of 17-year-old Liverpool-based Aidan Jackson. He is expected to make a full recovery. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield are both getting a seriously big DLC upgrade in the form of more than 200 Pokemon species. Some fans are praising this edition, but others are upset about having to pay $29.99 or £26.99 for the expansion pass that includes the new Pokemon. Whatever your stance on the matter, the release is due for June. Sony are getting love and hate from fans this week, with many complaining about the PS5 logo reveal, but others praising the hiring of a female in the role of the head of global operations. And the CEO of the company has boldly stated that the biggest features have yet to be announced for the PlayStation's upcoming next-gen console. I guess we'll wait and see. In Rumourville, a claimed quote-unquote leak of the fan-titled Assassin's Creed Ragnarok has appeared on Reddit, including details such as a return to cooperative gameplay and cross-platform compatibility, with fans and critics divided about its legitimacy. Another rumour, meanwhile, has been debunked, with AMD admitting at technology show CES that their quote-unquote leaked Xbox console image was completely faked. #not cool. And finally, sadly, the video game studio Fantasy Flight Interactive is closing. A subsidiary of parent company Fantasy Flight Games, who provide tabletop games, the studio launched in 2017, but it has been announced via LinkedIn that they are shutting their doors in February. Their game, the Lord of the Rings adventure card game, has been announced to be receiving continued support though, thankfully. In tech news, a cancer survivor has wowed the world with her recovery after her face was reconstructed using nothing but a smartphone and a 3D printer. The before photographs are a bit unpleasant, but it is #worth it when you look at the after photographs, which are truly a testament to the ingenuity of 3D printing for medical purposes. Meanwhile, the world watched CES, short for Consumer Electronics Show, and were both wowed and bemused by the many hundreds of things on show at the convention. Highlights include Sony announcing an electronic car, a wearable air purifier, a lot of ruckus about a dedicated sex technology area this year, the Big O, which is a PC that comes built in with PlayStation or Xbox, and a sensor that smells the air and tells you when it is safe to enter the toilet. Like I said, wowed and bemused. In the world of all things sciency and wyancy, a cuttlefish is wearing a pair of 3D glasses in a revolutionary, albeit very strange, scientific experiment. The findings for research on the 2,600-year-old preserved human brain have been released to the public, and an experiment to use genetically modified trees to reduce pollution has proved successful. And here's some science fact that could easily be confused with science fiction. Pathways that extend lifespans by an incredible 500% have been discovered. Using a popular model in aging research in the form of C. elegans, scientists have discovered a cellular feature that could potentially extend human life up to 5-fold. The research is still at an early stage, with the pathway still largely unclear, but it does lay the foundations of extending human life at a future date, whenever that may be. Astronomy fans are in for a treat this episode because so much has happened. We won't go into too much detail because of the sheer amount of news in this category, but there is plenty of reading to be done from the links in the description and the annotations if you want to know more. Scientists are a little baffled by the fact that the red planet, Mars, appears to be losing water quite dramatically. And speaking of Mars, the NASA program Artemis, which aims to put the first woman on the moon in 2021 and the first humans on Mars in the further future, has its first astronaut graduates. Congratulations, team! Perhaps those graduates will be flying in the NASA Boeing ship. NASA and Boeing have reached a milestone in the development of the core stage of their space launch system, with the current expectation to have it arriving at the Kennedy Space Center this autumn. Having completed construction at the factory in Mitchell, New Orleans, it is being taken to the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi for testing to ensure it works as planned. Should this be successful, it will be taken to Florida. Originally developed for taking human passengers to Mars, the change in administration has seen the focus shift to taking humans to the moon again. In other news, a mysterious radio signal from space has had its origin been discovered. These FRBs, fast radio bursts, are previously thought to have originated from gamma-ray bursts, imploding pulsars, black holes, or neutron stars, among many other theories, but astronomers state that these new findings put those theories into question for varying reasons. And finally, here's some stuff that wouldn't fit in with anything else, but definitely deserves a mention. Another TikTok challenge goes viral. This time, the Ben Solo challenge, in which participants must recreate a prominent Ben Solo scene in The Rise of Skywalker. Meanwhile, the quote-unquote UK's answer to Disneyland is quote-unquote tens of millions in debt, but is apparently still happening. Cool. Speaking of ridiculous amounts of money, Google has been sued again, this time regarding their smart speaker tech. The lawsuit calls for a sales ban on all Google-branded laptops, phones, and speakers. Let's wait and see what happens. And last, but most certainly not least, train enthusiasts can rejoice at the announced production of a dedicated steampunk line from miniature railway company Hornby. And China has launched an unmanned high-speed train service. That's the end of this week's News Roundup. Many thanks to our news hounds from the Geeketeers community, Bryant Oliver, Terry McIvor, and Becky-Louise Jackson, who all contributed. Get in touch to receive your prizes. If you want to contribute to next week's episode, join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and look out for the Week-In-Geek Sunday news request post. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to click that all-important like button if you enjoyed watching. Comment with your thoughts, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. New episodes on Mondays. Until next time, remember, you geek, therefore you are.